Mbote Kembo Kemena Tanzambi Yamazulu Kimfumo Kyaku Isa and Zambi Mawesha and Zambi Okabenesha and Zambi Monene, Zambian Zola, Zambian Kembo, Zambian Kulu Kulu Modimo So Nini na Nini Samala Betwabu Betwabu Osikameni Tusikameni, wherever you are, if it's in the morning, way Nusiembe Kembo Tekeno, the way the Most High with you. Kembo Kembo, hallelujah. We give all praises to the Most High God of truth. Zambian Pungu, Zambian Zola, Zambian Kulu Kulu Modimo, Sonini Nanini Samanla. Hallelujah. Bayet Nkosi. Wakanda. Bikanda. Kintwari. Sambwari. Sambulolo. Bayete Nkosi Yami. Bayete Nkosi Yami. Bayete Nkosi Yami. Yenge Izola Ibiluka. Peace, love, and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, Makongo. We give all praises. We are in a different time. Bana Betu of Isayele. Betwabu. Modi Mosonini Nanini. Zambiseto. Zambiseto Kozulu. He is here. The kingdom of truth is upon us. It's time to bring down the sorcerer, all of his associates, all of those who masquerade in the time, all of the secret societies, Kabbalah, everything that they continue to do will now come to an end. We give honor to Simon Gonsalves Toko, Yaya Kimbangu, Simon Kimbangu, Simon Padi, Mama Mafuta, any and all of the righteous Basantu of Yakampavita. We give honor to the Malangoki of Kuswa Kongo Fumu Yesue. We give honor, Campbell, to all the Moni Kongo that has passed through in this time. Hallelujah. Betwabu. Kakwisa Yambote, welcome to all of you. Bana Betu of Isayele scattered across the earth. All the non-Bana Betu who continue to listen. What is my purpose? What am I here for? My purpose is to bring down any and all of the warlocks and witches that continue to keep us in bondage, in Gipiti, Egypt. We are all here. The Ukulukulu, the ancestors, not of any Kundalini, wicked witches and warlocks, Atlantis, any of these all converted Phoenicians, Edom, that continue to tell the lies. Over 2,000 years or more, 3,000 years or more of deception. Because the Bana Betu of Isayele did not learn to stay away from the ways of the heathen. That is why the law has been changed, the images have been changed, the names have been changed, the teachings have been changed. Everybody is in a deception of the Wizard of Oz. No matter what color he is, white, black, copper color, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. The spirit of Sophia cannot save you from Nzambi and Pungu. Manda Velela of Kongo and Totela is back. The world will now shake. It is shaking now. The Sanhedrin are full of lies. They worship the Anunnaki. They worship the Watchers. They worship the offspring of the Nephilim. Everybody is praying to Amun-Ra that is not chosen. Why am I saying this? Because the time of Amun-Ra has come. The house on fire that the Bana Betu of Isayele were brought into is burning down. Zechariah 5:1, Obadiah 1:18, Revelation 17:18. Lili is burning. She's coming down. Any and all of these, what we want to call Sambo, which means prayer, their time is up. The gatekeepers, all of those who continue to talk a good game in your face, but stab you in the back in the night. Run, tell that. This is the system we living in for those who are oblivious to Iblis. Lucifer, who is paying people with bribery and silver that has been stolen from the kingdom of Kongo and Lili from before the foundation. Mansa Musa was not the wealthiest man ever. The Moni Kongo and Tino Salama and Tino Davidi, wealthiest black men on the planet. We did not look like a modified leper. That is the curse of Cain. We are not lepers. We are not any of those things. Unclean, whatever you want to call it. The curse of Cain has deceived the whole world. Cain and Abele were copper color. Cain killed his brother over the jealousy of his sister, and also because he listened to the false gods that were coming from Adamu after he sinned. And the one who was taken away when his mother was taken away was told that she had to go and be the desert. The desert is cursed land. This is why you're going to always thirst and always be hungry and always never be satisfied worshiping the dead gods, starting with the one who was ascribed all sin. We know him. You call him the Baphomet, but his name was Isaiah. He became Azazel, the house of El. We are the house of Ya, Kongo, nYambe. You're saying only half the name. Yahweh, Kongo. We are not the house of Baal, Allah Elohim. We're Alimo. Yeah, why you think they call it the Alamo? That was the last stand of the Bana Betu when America tried to kill us all, and they still couldn't do it. Tejas and all of this land and all of the earth, all of the world from 1485 was stripped away from the kingdom of Kongo and Lili that they lied about. The Muslims were fighting over it. The Christians were fighting over it. The Ashkenaz were fighting over it. They could not erase the Azila Kongo or Bantwe until the King Nzinga, the one they want to call Alfonso II, made the biggest mistake like Solomon and was smitten by the witch and the warlocks of Rome under King Leo, under King Clement, under the popes of Rome, who lied and they worship Jupiter Maximus Optimus, still to this day. The Protestant church did not stop worshiping Jupiter Optimus Maximus. No, you did not. And no, he was not white. But he turned himself white to stand in solidarity with the curse of Cain and all of those who Tatanzambi curse. Leprosy, people who are non-melanated, you have it backwards. This is not a bilaka. It is not a blessing. It was a curse. Because the clones, those who come from Lumaria, the fallen angels, Cybertron, wherever you want to call these places, Atlantis, Mu, okay? All of these wicked kingdoms that are in the earth still to this day, beyond the ice wall and all of these things, the dragons have deceived the whole world with their sorcery, their witchcraft, because Esau's world was among the dragons, and the dragons have now turned into people. Bibbidi bobbidi. Boo. The witch. The hoodoo. Now is going to come the time you're going to see you're talking to elves just as people. You're talking to animals just as people. You're talking to all kind of things just as people. Why? The magic of the sorcerer is over. It's coming down. Soon your pastors, your world leaders, everybody going to be exposed for the liars that they are with the mask that they wear, who all they're trying to do is continue to steal the power away from Kongo and Lili and the wealth. All leadership, all enemies of nYambe and Pungu will bow down. Revelation 3 and 9 is not just about the Khazars. It's about all the three frogs. They say, yes, we're going to bow down to Jesus. You're not going to be bowing down to the Jesus you think. Simon the Sorcerer, people want to talk about, they think that he just disappeared after his heretic stuff. No, he did not. The Nicolaitans kept him alive and well. Christianity kept him alive and well. Islam kept him alive and well. And Judaism, for daggone sure, are worshiping him. You have been fooled by Merlin for far too long. They call him the Wizard of Oz. And yes, he was black. That's why nYambe says everybody will be ashamed. As the whore, he will make the whore of shame. The whore of Babylon was a melanated woman, pretending to be the holy mother of Malaya Makongo, Fumu Mama Malia Makongo, as nYambe. She's a nYambe. She's a nYambe, Kongo, Bana Isayele. Everybody has been played by the star of the Saturnalia worshippers that continue to be deceived by the dragon in this time. The thieves will now pay for everything they stole. You cannot buy your way into the kingdom, and you cannot teach the people you cannot twist the doctrine in order to lead the sheep towards the pit. Everybody does not know what they worship. There are those who think that they are with nYambe, and they are not. They have then known who turn their heart away. You do not argue against the Most High and think he's not going to kick you out. You must do your job as a willing servant. You do not understand. Yes, I was running away from my job, because you have to understand we are in a land where everybody is possessed. There's different levels of possession. You will soon see this. Possession does not mean like they put on the movies all the time when you see the people climbing up the walls and acting crazy. That's when they're just putting on a show so that they can make Simon the Sorcerer look good. Yes. They got to make the sorcerer look good. So when he put on his act, everything, yeah, okay, pretend. There is a spell that can make people go to sleep. There is a spell that can bring you back from the dead when your head is cut off, but you are not the same person. You are going to be inhabited by a demonic entity. The only one that can bring you back from the dead with real souls is nYambe and Pungu. Everybody going to find out when we talk about the heathen, when we talk about the pagans, when we talk about the nations who are cut off, the 71 tribes who turned their back on Isayele, even their own, is now going to find out this could have all been reversed from 1904 to 1924. You have been hoodwinked for 120 years. 120 years. I told people the 400 years been over for the people that are with the people on a broken record, skipping 400 years, 400 years. No, slavery did not begin in North America. It's a lie. The Most High's clock started when we landed in Brazil. 1526. When the time that Simon Toko was here and Simon Kimbangu, we had already bypassed 400 years. By the time Simon Toko took his last breath after his heart attack that he induced himself, we had been here already almost 500 years. You have been wandering in the matrix, in the deception of purple rain that they coded because you don't know you are under the Sandman. Everybody thinks they're going away from the pit when they're running towards it and pulling and trying to pull the people of the Most High in there. And they've been successful with only to a certain extent. I'm here to tell you, it's over. Simon Gonzalez Toko of Satanzambi and Puku has returned. The real who was born in 1918. Simon Kimbangu, Fumi Kimbangu, who was born in 1887, he has returned. You are now going to see any and all exposure of all of those who say that they are Ngunguri shepherds who are feeding themselves and not the flock. The time is here. It's time to deal away with all of the Pharisees, all of the Sadducees, all of the scribes, all of the hypocrites. You don't know the full extent of this trial that they're doing with P. Diddy Combs and what his name really means. You don't understand that you have become a skeleton, a shell harboring false spirits. People want to trust that all black, they think about, the black gods, they're not all good. We want to talk about, the white gods, all this stuff. You're going to find out, people, there's a whole lot of deception being promoted with the whole concept of race. The race situation was created for self-preservation of the rich and their gods. You think they just get their money from hard work and dedication. They cannot tell the truth or they die. That they know that everything that has been given to many people in the very ultra-width levels was done through contracts. Many people don't even know you have been selling your soul, your children over to Lucifer since, oh boy, Nero. Let's go back there. They didn't start doing more until the 1100s and the 1300s under the popes that were there. You think the Protestant church brought back the souls from the damned? No, they did not. They are still under the same umbrella of deception. Only the Mayamona of truth, Fumu Yesue, who sent workers into the vineyard, is capable of neutralizing curses against you. His full authority granted to him by Tatanzambi and Pungu as the high priest, the Ngangan Zambi and Ngangan Vala of the temple, has always been around. The sorcerer will tell you he can be the only one. That is not anything the Most High preached. He said, all of my children who walk in holiness and righteousness are the same. So many people have been swapped out, you don't even know. So many people are putting the blame on people who had nothing to do with the scam that this sorcerer was running. I know what I was sent to do. My responsibility was to do my best to recognize the hustle. Was I always clear on what the trick was? No, But the nYambe ability is there to help you start to send people to say, wait a minute, take a closer look at this situation. Everybody is on drugs. Let me say it again. Everybody is on drugs that is in the system of the hustle. You don't understand what they did over the last 200 years or more is to create a system that was designed to do one thing and one thing only: destroy the kingdom of truth. But don't let anybody know that this was the plan. The way you destroy the kingdom of truth is you preach another gospel that was not preached. This started way back. This here is way back from payback. Simon the Sorcerer did not vanish. Simon Magus has been here. You people who think that the first church was run by pagans or Gentiles, you are deceived. The word barren, Baron or Beren, means no milk, no honey. The land of milk and honey is supposed to be also represented in the people that have it. Many of you are going to see you're an empty vessel being filled up with poisonous wine. This is why many people have had their children, their loved ones get involved with all kinds of debauchery or have made deals with businesses controlled by Lucifer all over the world. You don't understand. The symbolism of what you're seeing right now in the South, what you're seeing right now on the continent, what you're going to see right now manifesting in Asia, what you're seeing manifesting in Europe, what you see manifesting in America and North and South America is just the beginning. The match is already lit. And now the burning will commence. All of the people that want to love Master's house, and those who don't know that they're in Master's house, it doesn't matter what color you are. Now you're going to see what we're talking about when we say house on fire. Okay, I'm going to play the music. Again, I don't own the rights to the music. It's for the edification of this channel and only for the purposes of education only. All praises. Ingeta. All praises. Matonde Mamengi for this day. Yaya Kongo, we're going to come humbly before your throne. Saku, Panzu, Nzinga, Manakumase, Imana Villa Masari Seto. Bayeten Kosi Kemba, Hallelujah, Modimo. People, today, Bana Betu, we're going to come to the book of Maccabi. They did not spell this right. It's not Maccabees, it's Maccabi. Maccabi in Kikongo means the Detadi or the Maccabi cannot be the wizard or warlock. It cannot be a witch. It cannot be anyone that is under oath to this joker here. I'm going to portray this buddy here. Of course, they're going to say Jewish legend. Jewish are the Phoenicians, the Greeks, the ancient rite, and it was not called Yom Kippur. This is the way they modified the name. Okay. Leviticus 16:8. And Aaron shall cast lots upon 2 goats, one lot for the infumu and the other lot for the scapegoat. Okay? This was never a custom of Edom. This was hijacked by Edom, and they could never get the atonement for their sins because they were the hypocrites. That is why when they came into the kingdom of Kongo and Totala, 100 years before the Messiah was brought to his crucifixion or more, 200 years, you don't understand that the priesthood was hijacked by Edom, by the Greeks, by the Phoenicians during the war that took place between the kingdom of Kongo and Totala and against Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes represented Amun-Ra. Our father, Tatanzambi and Pungu, was never the hypocrite. The Greeks came in. According to the book of Maccabi, you will see, I will read it, that this is when our people made a pact with Esau. And it started from there. Okay? Yandi Kangulaka Mukanda. Mukanda means the law or the book. Ya Insuka. Insiku. Mukanda Ya Insiku, or what we call Tula, not Torah. Yena makanda vandaka kusosa kutula bifanisu ya biteki nabo. And I laid open the law wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, which was leper Cain, Esau, Cain, Nimrod. Nimrod was a melanated person. He got turned into a leper, stripped of his melanin because he refused to stop killing people, as well as the wickedness he was doing with people, women, animals. In addition to, he refused to stop causing to claim after Abana, and we call Abraham, which is not what he called him, but he was a moon too. He was not an Edomite resemblance person. He was not a leper. The whole world is being bamboozled by those who were also cursed with leprosy in Edom. And then the modified lepers come from the gods of Cain. Okay? Because the heathen do not come from, that's why they're called pagans. That's why they're not called heathen. They come from the witch and the goat god. That's where you come from. Only those who have the law come from the kingdom of truth. And that kingdom is the only one that can choose to give a soul of righteousness or purity to anybody. Okay? No one understands you are not born with the purified kingdom soul unless you have the bloodline. Everybody is going to be shocked. This is why you cannot get people to stop worshiping these pagan gods, because that's where they come from. And they want to continue to attach it to our God. This is the hallucination you're under. This is the sorcerer playing games. And even when he continues to pretend like he's working for our God, he is still running his hustle. Okay? Then son of Judah, called Maccabi, I'm going to show you how they have this wrong. I'm going to take this word and I'm going to show you how you say it. In the Kikongo language, or what we call Kongolo, is a Semitic language. They are lying to people. Bantu languages, just to I wanted to show you this. Do you want to know where they got the word cotton picker? The Kikongo word for slave is umpika, which of course derives from the Slavic term. Slave itself comes from the language Slavic, but a slave is umpika. Umpika ya cotton, the slave, the picker of the cotton, the slave. You don't even know that cotton picker, the word picker, is affiliated with our own language. That is why the Most High is burning down the house of those who turned us into the cotton pickers. And don't think you weren't picking cotton in Africa. You lie. They got Egyptian cotton over there, and yes, we were still picking it, even with the slavery we were part of in the days. We were picking cotton then, and we're picking cotton again. And you think you stopped picking cotton? No, you did not. They just modified the game. Now you pick everything else. This is why when you go to companies and you have what's called a pick line, why do you think they call it that? Because you're still a slave. Umpika. Okay? Whenever you pick something to deliver something in a manufacturing setting, you are still Just because you're getting paid doesn't mean you're not a slave. Because what you're getting paid is called peanuts. Nothing, worth nothing. Because they don't care. They just got to make it look good. All right. Let me go do this word here. Make sure I get this, because I never know this stupid thing does some weird stuff. See? Ba Maccabi. Ba Maccabi. Ba means of, or Ba, okay, of the stone, Maccabes, the stone. This is the son of Judah, called Maccabi, rose up in his stead, and his brethren helped him and did all they did to help his father, and they fought for the children of the battle of Isayele. Israel is Esau's name. He put himself in the scriptures. So he got his people to great honor and put on a breastplate as a giant and girt his warlike harness about him and made battles protecting with hosts with his swords and his axe as he was a lion and like a lion's whelp roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked and sought after them and burnt up those that vexed his people. Do you not see that Tatanzambi, the Most High, the God of Isayele, will pull to arms to destroy? And this is when they were fighting the Greeks. Remember that. They were fighting the Greeks. So then how can the Greeks now teach you the Most High's way? You've been played. The Greeks not can now all of a sudden say that they are the experts on the Creator's way. It's a lie. We destroying the Greeks. Now the Greeks going to tell you they represent the Most High. They cannot. You have been bamboozled with this. The Most High, it has to come through the non-Greeks, the non-Babylonians, the non-Romans. That is what Joanne, the salvation comes to the Jews. Not the Greeks calling themselves Jews, but the real ones. And it cannot be a Pharisee, Sadducee, scribe, or hypocrite either that says they're following the law when they're still doing paganism, when they're still following a wrong calendar. No. They're going to always misdirect you. We're going to go to chapter 2. Now, of course, these names are all changed. And in those days arose Mattathiah. Okay, we're gonna change. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna see if I can get it to copy. I don't know why this thing is not letting me highlight this. Yeah, they like to play this game because they don't want you to learn the truth here. Why are you highlighting that? I don't want that. I just want this part. Oh, come on. This is lovely. Okay, there we go. I'm going to start giving you people the fact that, because we're going to go back to our pure language, it's not going to be Aramaic and it's not going to be Yiddish, because Yiddish is not even a pure language. Neither is Lingala. So we're going to be changing from that. Nabilumbu Yina Matala Tisi. See? Matata Tiasi. See? Matata Tiasi. Tata, 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 Father. Mana Ya Yohane. There's no John. Yohane. Mana Ya Simeone. And Ganganzambe, the priest. Mosi. First, Yabana Ya Yoralibi. That's probably supposed to be a L. Yoaribi. Kutakaka na Banza Salama. It was in Banza Salama, people. It was never no Jerusalem. I know they talk about Dar Salama. It was in Banza Salama. It was in Banza Davidi. It was in Banza Kong. It was in Banza. MP. Kwendaka Kuzinga. Kuzinga is Holy Spirit. Namodi. Okay? And the 5 sons called Yohanan, I'm sure that's Joanna, Cadiz, Simon, Simo, called Tasi, Judah, who was called Maccabi, Elizia, called Avala, and Yonata. You know the name Yonata, they changed that too. Who served him with Appas. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Banza Salama, he said, Woe is me, wherefore I was born to see the misery of my people and the holy city that dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy. Who is the enemy? Esau. There's only 2 kingdoms, people. Cain. It might have all kind of different names for the 70 tribes or whatever it was, but it was one spirit of Cushi. It was one spirit of Kihishi. Okay? Her temple has become a man without glory. So that would become Cain, Esau, Nimrod, Amun-Ra, the demon Belai, Baal. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Do you not see that they love to kill the children? Esau loves to kill the children. Esau loves to kill the children of the Most High. Slain children. You think we just going to a broken record again? Skip it. They always killing us when we go by the way of the heathen. You don't understand. Why you think you got thrown to the crocodile and alligator and all? The son, you don't think they were still thrown to the crocodile over in the land and the alligator over here? You fool yourself. Her temple, her glorious vessels are carried away in captivity. What nation not have a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Our ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave. Upika. Let's look at the word bond slave. I'm telling you, people, all we keep doing is repeat after me. You don't learn how to behave, you're gonna repeat it. Now they made slavery look like it's a good place to be. Nice. Umpika again. All right. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles, look up the word Gentile in Kikongo, Makanda, now they want to say Yimbi. Okay, they're gonna, man, let me find something here. This is, it was Kadiampemba is the word we really would use. Pagan, let's go to pagan, because they say it just means stranger. Mimpani, that's what the name, you see this right here? Mimpani, this would be the goat god's name, Pan. Okay, Mim, Madam Mim, with the nasal, Mimpani. Okay, this joker here, this is who we talking about. Let's look him up. There we go. Look like the goat right there. Greek mythology. What mythology? This is who we were sacrificing to in the ritual. Okay, that alone you get the two goats. God of the shepherds, flocks, and nature. This is why people are collecting. The children are getting turned into goats. Because when you worshiping the false gods, the Greek gods, you are now a goat. You're not a sheep. So now under the hypnosis, how Lucifer has deceived the whole world, he's making the goats think that they're sheep when they're still goats. And he's making the people who are sheep need to think that they got to go find the sheep to become sheep again. That they are goats. He's making the people who are actually already the sheep think that they need to go, that they're goats, needing to find a shepherd to become sheeps again. This is why the Tatanzami said, we have never understood what our purpose is, Isaiah. The ox knows his master, the donkey knows the crib, but my people, his people are not the Greeks, the Phoenicians, the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Amalekites, the Ashkenaz, the Etruscans, the Kittim, the Persians, the Arabs. Okay, his people are not Ishmael. His people are not what's the other one? Moabi. Okay, the Asians. Okay, his people are Isayele, Bana Betu, Isayele. He is not the God of Israel because the God of Israel is Lucifer. The God of Israel is Lucifer because that is actually Isis, Ra, and El. But they're going to tell you no. They did not. Esau is not the one who wrestled with the Most High. No, he did not. Edom is not the one who wrestled with the Most High. It was Yakubi, Isayele, Bana Betu. Why did they not want people to know this? Because they are, the secret societies are robbing the temple, but making it look good. All over the world, you're feeding people poison in the name of Jesus, in the name of Allah, in the name of Jehovah, Yahweh. Which Yahweh? Okay, it's all about the spirit. So now, this is why how Lucifer has now said, oh, we are spiritual Israel. The Gentiles cannot be a salvation unto themselves. It's a scam. And now they're going to find out the biggest hustle when the Most High lift the veil, you didn't go anywhere. You were waiting in Sheol, which isn't the way they described it, and you did not rise not one bit to the kingdom. Yeah, you're going to say, I feel my people, they're around me. They're watching over. Not the way you think. You're going to discover you get recycled unless you come to the truth. You're not walking in truth as a Christian. You're not walking in truth as a Muslim. And you're not walking in truth in Judaism. So then you're no different than the other religions out here who they themselves are pagan beliefs. Do you have people who are Buddhists that are nice? Yeah. Does that mean they serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? No. So Lucifer can be nice. Okay. Let's go back to the first chapter. And this is where the nightmare has started again. That nobody understands. It's still happening. They are profiting off of Jacob's trouble. Let me say it again. Simon the Sorcerer is profiting off of Jacob's trouble. He is trying to make people think they have to buy the kingdom. You cannot buy the kingdom. And yes, the real Messiah and the false Messiah were both Bantu. You're going to find this out. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the line of Kittim. Where is Kittim? And had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes. The Medes are Asia. Moab, the Medes, that he reigned in his stead first over Greece. And many wars, and had won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. Okay? This is when nYambe used him to destroy Phoenicia. Yes. He destroyed Phoenicia. He was not working for Zeus at this time because he was destroying the kings that were under Zeus. He went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, inasmuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted. Why was the earth quiet? Because he was doing his work for nYambe. He gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings and became children. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he would die. So where does the sickness now come from? Zeus. Zeus is the god that brings sickness, people. Because all of his gods that they worship, they're one and the same. Baal. Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable and had been brought up with him, his young, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, then he died. 12 is a number that is being used constantly. That's exactly why you have a trial that began on May the 12th. You don't know what this is. And his service bearer ruled over one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons, and the evils were multiplied on the earth. Under what god are you multiplying evil? Zeus, Baal. It don't matter what you call him. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at the Rome, and he had been at hostage at Rome. But here we go. This is where Lucifer played both sides. To the Romans, he's called Zeus, and to the Greeks, he's called Zeus. But to Rome, he's called what? Jupiter. Y'all don't get it, people. So he imprisoned himself. Okay. Well, actually, he was turned over there probably. And those days there were out of Isayele wicked men. So these would be Bana Betu, who are acting like Esau. Let me say it again. These would have been Bana Betu of Isayele acting like Edom. Never fails. So we are Isayele acting like Israel. We are Isayele acting like Israel. Because Israel is Lucifer. That's where you're going to find out the people who made America are still the same. Who the Spirit is saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen again. We never learn. We're going to make a covenant with Esau. Because Esau is the god of the heathen that we are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have much sorrow. How do you have sorrow unless you're worshiping false gods? This is why nYambe gets so frustrated with the history that we've been dealing with our people, and the world now doesn't understand why is there much sorrow now coming across the earth. Because you don't understand it's the same garbage. Just now they erase the knowledge. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward therein that they went to the king and gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. What was the practice of Greece? What was the practice of Rome? What was the practices of Babylon? What was the practices of all these other nations? Egypt. You don't get it. Canaanite practices. What were the Canaanites doing? What were they? We're doing the same crap today. Mesopotamia. Okay? And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. Now, circumcision did not always make you holy, because even the Egyptians were practicing circumcision. This is actually mentioned in the book of Barnabas and the book of Philip, but you don't know that. It wasn't about circumcision, it was about your heart. That's why the Father said, circumcise your heart. And forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. This is the bribery. This is the silver. The 300, whatever pieces of silver. Okay? This, and further in the book of Maccabee, it talks about how Simon the Sorcerer came and did a covenant with the king. This is the guy that would then be in the mix. The Bible does not talk about Simon the Sorcerer as much because he wrote it. Biblios. The word Bible comes from the word Biblios, which was a Phoenician city. The secret societies wrote the scriptures, and they lying to you because the Semitic language the scriptures were written in was Congolo, changed into the Semitic language of Esau called Aramaic, which was also the Semitic language that would also be connected to Arab because of Ishmael, which also was a mixture of the Greek and the Kongo language we now call Latin from the Etruscans. Okay? Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Engipiti, Egypt, that he might have dominion of the two realms. What realms would that be? Oh, yeah. Cybertron and also some Yaza. the high kingdoms. What realms? Wherefore he entered Engipiti with a great multitude, with the chariots and elephants, and a great navy, and he made war with Ptolemy, king of Egypt. Remember, they're worshiping the same stupid god. He is called Zeus to the Greeks. He's called Amun-Ra or Osiris to the Egyptians. It's always been like this. They were not worshiping the Most High of truth. That they got the strong cities land of Engipiti and took spoils thereof. So Amun-Ra, Baal, allowed his version of the Greeks capture Engipiti because it's the same flipping god. You don't get it. And everybody got sacrificed as spoils of war in the spirit to these false gods. How many times that you got to follow this that you're not catching on that Baal of the Egyptians or the Canaanites is also Zeus. This is how he lay low the Gentiles in Isaiah 14. Isaiah. Okay? And after the Antiochus is smitten in Egypt, he returned again 140 in third year and went up against Isayele. Not Israel, Isayele. Okay? And a great multitude. And bands of Solomon had entered proudly into the sanctuary, took away the golden altar. Okay, so where is that at? Imagine where they got that now. And the candlestick of light, I told you menorah was not what we called it. I gave you the teaching yesterday. Let's look it up again. This stupid thing always does that. See, I caught it, and then they want to change they always change the algorithm. It's annoying. You people. I'm going to put it in this one. Seven candles. That's what it really means. Banela and Sambwadi. Okay, the Sambwadi. Seven Banela. 7 lampstands. Bima Sambwadi ya Kutudila Minda. This thing messed up on me. Stands. Okay. In the vision, okay. Na umbu bikudulu jina ntumwa yohane kubukaka bima nsambwadi. Bima nsambwadi ya wolo ya kutudila banwinda. That's why I talked about it before. Wind. Imp bambwetete nsambwadi kele ba. Okay, this is what we talk about the 7 stars. Bambwetwete Sambwadi Kele Bifwani Ya Inki. What? See, because we always spoke backward. What is at the end of the question? What did the 7? So it's backward. MP, you see here? Because the comma is here. Bima and Sambwadi Yawolo Kutwadi MP. So it's the representative, the things mean what? That's why we're speaking backwards. Okay? That is how we said menorah. Sorry. Okay. Oh, this thing is weird. And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials of the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. Again, the Greeks and the 12 tribes are not the same. You have it all mixed up because of Revelation 3 and 9. But just because you look like one of us doesn't mean you are. Just because a person says, well, I'm a black Hebrew Israelite, or I'm black and I'm from 12 tribes, that don't mean they are. You don't take people's word for it. The Most High got to show you, is this person one of us or not? That's how the Holy Spirit really works. And when he had taken all away, he went in his own land, having made a great massacre, spoken very proudly. Therefore there was great mourning in Isayele. Again, it wouldn't happen all the time. We always got to have the great mourning because our king always want to be what? Stupid. In every place where they were, but it also fulfills the prophecy of what Tatanzambi told in Tino Salama, how he would strip the kingdom away from him for building the wicked temples. So that the princes and the elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. So you see, there was already the concept of the bridegroom mentality there, because we were also the wife of Tatanzambi. We were also the wife of the Most High himself and his nation as his children as well, meaning that we are part of his house. So now why is this happening? We went over to Zeus, the god of the Greeks. Yeah, I keep talking about mythology, my foot. That's his Baal. Then builded the city of David with great and strong wall. All right, so then build it, but the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. Where do we keep seeing this over and over and over, people? Oh yeah, colonialism. They just do this in Africa. Oh my gosh, people. They keep doing this. Rome did it. They did it. Rome keep doing it. Rome has always been the Bana Betu of Isayele are trodden down until the time of the Gentile is fulfilled. That's why they hijacked the prophecy of the apocalypse of Abana, when it said the ingathering of the Most High's people and the persecution of the heathen. That is what you have been experiencing over the last 500 years, and the world has been lied to about what happened from 1917 until now. The Balfour Agreement was drafted by Esau, the Edomites. Okay? The Greeks. The same Greeks that they take them about, they run they do the Most High will. Yeah, right. Okay? And they put there a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals, and when they had gathered together the spoils of Mbanza Salama, they laid them upon there, and so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary in the evil adversary, an evil adversary to Isayele. Israel is Lucifer. Tatanzambi is the Bana Betu of Isayele. Okay? So Israel is really the adversary to Isayele. You got it all jacked up, people. There was no place called Israel, no name in Israel until after the 1500s. You're going to find this out. You got played. Thus they shed innocent blood every sign of sanctuary, defiled, because we were already doing this. So now, once again, we get blood sacrifice going again. That's illegal, insomuch that the inhabitants of Mbanza Salama fled because of them were in the city, were made a habitation of strangers, and became strangers to those who were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Her Sambwadi each reproached her honor into contempt. This has happened again. This is what happened in the Spanish Inquisition and Renaissance period. The Most High brought back the teachings, and we said kick rocks again, as in the days of Noah, just like he said. That is what took place. The children went apostate under Yaledi. Jared went like Cain, who Cain was already doing wickedness, but he's going to act like he was taught by the Most High. Gunun or Gun, who happened to be in this other teachings you don't know about. He was the half brother of Lamecca. The half brother of Noah. Him and the three brothers, Jubal, Tubal, Jubal, and Jubal Cain, and the sister Nama. There was another sister, I can't remember her name. There was other people though. Okay? There was other children there. They went the way, and that's why Methuselah had to go and help purge with his other siblings the wickedness after what happened with his grandfather, because Hanoka, his father, was taken up. You're going to see how powerful Methuselah was. You don't even know. You're sitting there going to the museum looking at the handiwork of Methuselah. Why you think they hiding? The giants got turned to stone. Yeah, you don't even know. And the angels. That they should also leave and destroy the dragons, by the way, you don't even know. They should also leave the children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable and all manner and unclean and profanation. So today, even if you go and you because I told you the Egyptians used to practice circumcision, and so some other cultures. How do you make the children abominable? This is what's going. Many people gonna find out. You make your children abominable by causing them to worship the sorcerer, pretending to be the real Messiah. This why they took away. They say, "Oh, he founded Gnosticism." Well, Gnosticism is the Nicolaitans, and Gnosticism are the Masons, are the Knights Templar, are the people who were practicing mysticism. You don't get it, and you think that they weren't doing the same thing when they took all of the cardinals. The cardinals were the Senate. The cardinals were the Senate that all of a sudden got this name. We had nothing to do with no name, with no cardinal. The cardinal is symbolic of a sacrifice. That's why you're going to look at, I looked at the name Peabody. Peabody was peacock body. Peacock was a symbolism of the resurrection of the false god Horus, Heru, pretending to be Messendici, pretending to be Fumayusu years before he actually did what he was supposed to do. And you don't think that you went back to the Messiah of Esau, you fool yourself. Okay? Now, when did they sacrifice the pig? Now, in the 5 and 12, now, this is really going to help you understand the deception. Now, the 5 and 20th day of the month. Oh, yeah, this is going to be right now what we call Samhain. Okay? On the 5 and 20th month of the day, they did sacrifice on an idol unto the altar, which is on the altar of God, not the dog god, Tatanzambi, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants upon their necks and rifled their houses and slew them and had circumcised them. Howbeit, many beside were fully resolved and conformed in themselves not to eat anything unclean, wherefore rather to die. Now, I don't know why. Where Antiochus slaughtered the pig? All right, so here we go. And he was okay, now watch look at this. Antiochus Epiphanes, the king of Syria, captured and bonded Count Solomon in 167 BC and desecrated the temple by offering the sacrifice of a pig and an altar to Zeus, the abomination of desolation. Esus, by the way. Esus, E-S-U-S. Okay, that pig was called Esus. Okay, so now when Messendici Fumayusui comes, he's walking into the situation where, because you got to understand he was born 4 BC. All right, so when we do the math, 167, so we're talking about 163 years later. Here comes Messendici. His job, because at that time, even after Yaounde Maccabi kicks out the Greeks there are still people lingering when the Romans were involved, because the Romans and in Syria and the Greece was still fighting each other. Okay, so at that time, Rome was an ally to the Bana Betu of Isayele. But what happened? Okay, this is why nYambe said, this is why we never learn. Because they turn around and realize the blessing is with the Bana Betu of Isayele, and the wealth increases when they are in your presence. So what did they do? They took the same behavior adopted from the Greeks to Rome about taxation and censuses and, you know, provinces and everything that goes to the Caesar. And the indication was they let us continue to worship nYambe in spirit and in truth. That means to worship nYambe, but we still had to engage in Roman law. Okay? So the warning was when King Herod, who was an Edomite, was instructed about the arrival, that there was going to be coming the Messiah. Now, remember, the Edomites were already still working as priests because of later on what took place between the kings and Simon the Sorcerer, who was an Edomite, and how they came in again in 3 and 4 Maccabi. Because that's not in there. You don't read it. Okay? So when this took place, that is what happened when the world now would be lost for a long time. And they're still lost even today, because they don't understand that when Kuswa Kongo Fuma Yesuwe, when he was gone, Simon, the twin brother, Simon Megas, he started Gnosticism, but he used the scriptures that he knew from his own brother and all the others in order to act like he was the disciple. This is what happened to the 7 churches in nYambe, Ecclesiae, the 7 churches in the book of Revelation, how they got messed up. Simon the Sorcerer. What these wicked people have done over the ages is they made you think that when Christianity came on the scene, it fixed the debauchery of what they did. No, it did not. It never fixed it, because they went and they invented Christianity with all of the councils that met, where they changed things and they rearranged things, and then they put it out there and said, this is how we're going to practice. When the protests came about the indulgences, which is something that we talked about, because see, Rome was causing indulgences on the kingdom of Kongo and Totala when the kings of let me show you. When these kings were there, all right. So the rulers of Congo. All right. So the indulgences were instructed. So you have Aro the first of Congo. He is the one. So when the Portuguese arrived in Congo in 1483, now let's look at who the Pope was in 1483. So you had Pope Sixtus the Fourth. All right. But then when did we have also a split going on? Leo. All right. So this is why they said it. You don't understand. That's why he took this name, man. Watch. So Leo the 10th, born, he died. His papacy began He ran from March 1513 till he died. Now, when you look at the Pope Sixtus, okay, Francisco de la Rovere, okay, so his accomplishments was he included the construction of the Sistine Chapel, the creation of the Vatican Library, which had a lot of our stuff in there, a patron of the arts brought together artists who ushered the early Renaissance into Rome. This is when they started changing the images and changing things. And then he founded the Spanish Inquisition. Okay? Why did he do that? Part of that is because of what happened here. Okay? When Diego Cal, so the Portuguese reigning king was Nimi Kanda. Kanda means tribe. The Kanda was probably descended from Nimi Anzima, father of the founder of Kongo. He wasn't really the founder because Kongo de Ntotela existed even before as a scattered nation, already teaching the truth. Yes. Okay. Divisions emerged when Kanda, during the succession dispute, for example, followed the death of Alfonso I in 1452. So now we're going to go down. We're going to go to when Zhao Nzinga Ainkuru, this is the one, he was the son of the predecessor and was baptized as Zhao I on 3rd of May, 1491, but he returned to traditional beliefs in 1495. Now, this was a problem because he realized they made a mistake. Okay? So, Mani Congo, we got Alfonso Mvemba Nzinga. He was the son of the predecessor, the first true Catholic king of Congo. After Abraham was Catholic, granted a coat of arms. Now, you tell me this. Where in the Bible, where in the scriptures do we ever do a coat of arms? We had a seal. Because arms itself is the way you describe Lucifer's angels, Maleki Alma, brothers of arms. Arms and Alma are the same. They coded this. They're not going to tell you this because they're lying to you. Alma is how we said arms. Okay? There's no way that the God of truth is going to make the angels of truth are going to mix with the imposters. No way. Okay? So then during this time, you're going to see that from in this time frame, Alfonso Mvemba Nzinga, this is when they took us to Portugal and started the plantational system there. That was technically a system that many things were already happening with the Moors when the Knights Templars and when the Knights Templars and the Portuguese Templars and the priests of Rome went and took us to Brazil. This is where everything started. I told you 1619 was an exchange between sects. Okay, it had nothing to do with the start of slavery for us. It's a lie. Because they already knew that the Moors were in control of this land. And then when they built the first colony in 1607, it was an exchange between the Moors and the Knights Templar, but they were engaged with Native Americans that were here at the time. Y'all gonna find out everybody's lying to you. Okay? Had nothing to do. The Islamic Moors were already over here. It's all a lie. Okay? They know the history. So here, in this time frame, is when they took Bana Betu of Isayele, Bantu people, and started to because this is when the indulgences were paid. So let's talk about Rome's indulgences. We were complaining about it already. All right. Now, this is when the indulgences really began. In the teaching of the Catholic Church, an indulgence, indulgencia or indulego permit. Oh, so now you see why you're going to have a permit for this, a permit for that, permission, permit. I permit you. So your driver's license is a permit. Your car needs a permit. Your house needs a permit. You know, people got to go and build something. You got to get a permit, right? A license is really a permit, okay? A learner's permit. That's why they changed the word to license. When you say you got to get a learner's permit, where do you think this word come from? Indulgence. A way to reduce the amount of punishment one has to undergo for forgiven sins. Again, you're buying your way into heaven, man. It's the same thing. Now they call it tithes and offering, which they're not even doing right. No, because Rome stole everything from the Most High storehouse. And they still got it. And they still got it. Okay. So now, the Money Congo, okay, this all started when? Many of these things started, let's see, when did they do it? So, in the late Middle Ages, indulgences were used to support charities for public good. So here's where you got the idea: when I put money in the pot, they're going to come out and help people in need. But yet everybody was not paid evenly. No way. See, the problem was our kingdom in Kongo and Totala, we already knew how to do everything the right way. This is where they lied. They didn't need not to teach us to do this. That's why when you see what happened here with this one, when it said he went back to his traditional beliefs, is because he realized that these people are robbing me. They're okay. They're taken away. So the minute you put the coat of arms now, you are now the property of the Knights Templars in Rome. And see, that is where the Pope and all those people started to put people on papers and keep you as property and cattle. Okay? All right. So now the medieval, so it says, indulgences were introduced to allow for the remissions of severe penances of the early church and granted at the intercession of Christians awaiting martyrdom, or at least imprisoned for the faith. The Catholic Church teaches that indulgences draw on the treasury of merit accumulated by Jesus' death. Wait a minute. So now what do you see they're telling you? We are the treasure keepers. We are the treasury of the Messiah's kingdom. Okay, what does it say in the scriptures? How you have to go through who? the Jews, the Bayuda. So now you understand where Esau has framed the entire world to be a scapegoat in their lie. Because now Esau's saying, I'm Jacob and I'm supposed to be the treasurer of the most. How can he do that? How can Edom be the treasurer when he's the thief? Okay? So now you got to understand this is Kittim. Kittim is now what you want to call Italy. No, this is the land of Japheth, Japhethites. Okay? How can now pagans become the treasurer of the Most High's kingdom? It's a fraud. Heathens cannot be a salvation unto themselves. He said, my people are supposed to be a light unto the Gentiles. Okay, the Gentiles cannot become a light unto themselves. This was the scam that was created by Rome and many of the other pagans because they saw the amount of wealth that even Esau was dipping into in the Maccabi when they tricked us into calling themselves the tribe that left. In order to do that, they would have had to have been brown. They were not white. Okay? All right? So now, however, the abuse of indulgences for almsgiving so that they became a method of money raising or ignored the requirements for contrition or charity had become a serious problem with the church recognized that it was unable to restrain effectively abuses and the practices in teaching and indulgences were from the beginning of the Protestant Reformation. But now let's think about this. Where did Martin Luther get the idea that indulgences were fake? You don't know. From this guy. They're not going to tell you. From these guys. You see, he even got the leopard skin still on. The leopard skin is what was put on the clothing from Adamu Ya. That's why Esau wanted to take it back. That's why they took out the book of Joshua. All right? So now, when the Protestant Reformation began, these guys were complaining about how we were being mistreated with the wealth and the people being taken into slavery and how they had to pay indulgences because they knew this isn't right. Okay? Man, if you think that Martin Luther just came up with this stuff, because even during this time, Rome was going through the plague. And watch the front, let's show the plague now. The plague of Rome, the plague of Europe. And I'm almost done. Now, look at here, the Black Death. The Black Death typically refers, it was the 14th century, is estimated killed about 1/3 of Europeans' population between 1347 and 1351. This is a problem when it comes to how you're going to now pay money. Okay? This is a problem because you have now killed 1/3 of Europe's population that at this time were Catholics. Now do you understand? And during the 1300s, the kingdom of Kongo and Lili was a wealthy, thriving kingdom, and sub-Saharan Africa was benefiting from our time coming up into the fact that they know we are blessing. The blessing followed the Bana Betu of Isayele, the Most High. So you know at this time, the Most High was punishing Europe as he was bringing back his kingdom. You think it just happened by coincidence? No. Because 100 years later is when he would go back into captivity from this. Okay? So now, this joker here, oh yeah, watch what he's going to do. Watch what he did. Sixtus sought to strengthen his position by surrounding himself with relatives and friends. In the fresco by Melezo de Forti, he accompanied by his Delit Rover nephews. Not all of them were cardinals. The planetary apostate, okay? And then what he going to do, he going to tell Diego Cal, this is the guy that's going to tell Diego Cal, when Diego Cal come back and say, these people already know the truth. He said, I don't care. Get them to learn it our way. That was the exchange that happened. Diego Cal come down there, okay, we're going to teach Catholicism to people who are already doing the people of the way. You don't even know. But it was the people in our land that refused to accept the spiritual temple versus the physical temple that caused the problem. Because they were still wanting to do sacrifice to animals. And we weren't supposed to be doing that. So they caused the problem. Because they were still practicing what they want to now call Judaism. Okay, but it wasn't. They were still under the star Saturn deception. So that's why many people don't know when the Father talks about his enemies, he's talking about our own people and the nations that don't understand you're worshiping Esau's God. So then when the Protestant Reformation comes in, and there's a schism again, because there was a schism before that between Rome in the 1200s, okay, what they want to call coming out of the Dark Ages, all right, which is kind of weird because they were the same thing. People don't realize is that everybody's getting scammed by this fallen angels keep recycling crap. So now, when the powers of Europe at that time, which included the Byzantine Empire, you now called Russia, and all these other things that were going on, the Slavic nations, you had the Germanic tribes, you had Rome, you had France, you had England, you had all of these Axis powers now of Europe battling over who is supposed to be teaching the truth. When the people who were going to be supposed to be teaching the truth are now getting sent into servitude under Esau. That is the reason why they banished the historical knowledge and forbid us to learn, because when those of us were not stripped of our identity, we would rise up against them. We knew that this was not right, okay? So many slave revolts were because of the fact that they were engaging in homosexual practices against us in the buck breaking, and they were using men and women as prostitutes to hand them out to their rich and wealthy patrons. Because all of these parties, you think that these wealthy people were doing, yeah, what do you think was going on? Oh, you don't even want to know. So now we were forced to participate in many of these rituals that they were doing, as they were also causing us. But the sad part about it, those of us who knew the ritual in the form of hoodoo, we already understood what they were doing. And that's how everybody got connected once again to the Egyptian gods unawares, making contracts, all kind of stuff. That was already going on in Europe for centuries under the Catholic Church. You don't even know. Okay? For centuries, there were many cultures that were still practicing this stuff. Okay? So don't think that there's anything new under the sun. All they did was they wiped your memory and made it look like, oh, we didn't do any of this stuff. No, witchcraft has never left, and it is still here. The problem is you think that Christianity is not witchcraft. You think that Islam is not witchcraft, and you think Judaism is not witchcraft when they're all the same. That's the problem. And so then those of us who practice the truth, we were called sorcery because that's how the warlocks work. They're going to call you the witches and warlocks. Simon the Sorcerer is going to call you witches and warlocks, and he's going to want to point out all of your iniquities when he himself is doing his magic to trick people into thinking he replaced he replaced the one who was sent to actually be the high priest. Simon Toko, Simon Kimbangu, Simon Padi, any of all of our ancestors, even this king right here. And you think he didn't know it. Even these kings right here, okay? Even this king right here, he never said, Lucani Walimi, he never said he replaced Masindasi. No, he did not. Yehowa. Okay, and if you think that the Weni Kongo, we didn't know the Messiah even this time, you lie. They erased all of this knowledge. That's why when you see what King Leopold said to the missionaries, you don't need to teach the Most High to the Bantu people in Congo. They already know the Most High. We need to teach it to where they will give us their resources and feel like they need to contribute. Because at that time, many of the missionaries that changed to Protestantism that were still in the battle with the Catholics don't understand it was all still going where? To the Orsini family and the Lords of London and all the others like them, the families and the Medici family and all this stuff. It was all still going there because everything was being put into Esau's storehouses over the generations and generations. All the 70 tribes that he was against, the 70 kingdoms, their wealth was being stockpiled under the kingdom of Edom. Okay, now while you see that there's a conflict, the people who want to become independent because they're lying to people. There's only 2 kingdoms. So when you say, oh, I want to become independent of Esau while you're working for Esau, it doesn't work that way. This is the problem. Okay, they just made you believe that you were worshiping the real God because they were running a hustle. All right. So now this is where we are today. They took their hustle. I saw the map. The guy showed the book from 1776. Florida went all the way across the southern United States. Yeah. You don't even know. There was no Canada in 17th. There was nothing there. Mexico was Florida because see, Spain, let's go to the Spain and Mexican War. Oh, you don't even know. So the Mexican and Spanish War, okay, refers to the Mexican War of Independence from 1810 to 1821. Now, Spain, let's see if we can get this map. And I'm going to be done. All right, let's get into it. You don't know the history, man. There's a reason why it had to be 13 colonies, by the way, which is tied to what happened with the 13th of the Friday the 13th or whatever. And it's also a duality because there were 13 months and our kingdom was 4, Yala, and the other 4. And that's why you get the 44. There's an ill Nana and there's a good Nana. You don't even know the difference. So we're going to get the images. You're going to pull up this map. Okay? Let's go with it. See, everybody's being deceived. Watch this. I don't know what it did with the map. Where did it go? minor figures. 1 second. So you see, in this map, it says Spanish. All of this right here. Now, 1789 is where America started to push in, and this happened because of the French. But now you go to the war between Spain and Mexico, okay? See, this was British North America. It wasn't called Canada yet. See there? British North America up here. So now the Spanish War with the Caribbean, see, they got all the Caribbean, everything right here. And when Mexico and Spain got, that's why they was running a piece of it, because you see, let me go, that's 17. Let's go further back. North America map. Let me see what this one says. You know what? Let's go 1700. Yeah, they don't want to take you any further back, people. North America colonial times. Let's break it down like that. Let's go here. All right, let's do this. All right, so let's bring it up. All right, so here we go. France is in blue. Great Britain is in red. Territory ceded by France. And Spain is in orange. So who's over here? Nobody owning this right here. So who was there? I'm telling you, boy, see this Britain, the colonial times, okay, they didn't even own this land right here. Everybody's being hustled, people. See, you got the Treaty of 1713, Great Britain. At this time, Great Britain was primarily Protestantism. Spain and France was still Catholicism. And of course, you got, and all of Portugal. Portugal is down in South America, but then they got all of the people over there. When you go colonial map, let's go colonial map. Let's see if we can get one. Eastern. I don't mean to be going this long, but you know, we got to understand what we're dealing with right now is huge. Colonial map, Eastern Hemisphere. All right. This is going to break it all down right here. Let me see if we can get it to show it. This is 1754. I'm going to show you. Everybody's being played. United Kingdom. Right here. Oh, we got a little bit of speck right here, and we got a little bit of speck. France. Oh, France is only right here. Okay, France is only right here. Portugal, oh yeah, see? Why you think they took us over? I told you, 1826. And look, they only had this region. They didn't even have the whole kingdom. That's why I tell people we're being robbed, because this is down here by in Namibia. Okay, look what they got. United Kingdom was here. The Netherlands. The Netherlands had what? This little spot. And this little spot. Okay? Russia. Russia is right here. They didn't colonize it. Well, they didn't colonize any. Well, they got this little spot. No, that's actually France. Who is controlling all of this? What happened here? The grave part. Some of this is Islam and Russia, and also this is also, like Tata Nzambi said, this is the opposite. This is the 70 tribes. This is Esau. I mean, this is Bana Betu. There's only two kingdoms, people. You either worship Esau or you worship Jacob. Many of these tribal people were still praying to Egyptian gods. Many people over here were still praying to Egyptian gods. The kingdom of Kongo and Lili was not allowed to pray to Egyptian gods. You lie. The kingdom of Tata Nzambi and Pungu, we were not allowed to pray to Egyptian gods. They lie. Okay? All of this stuff right here, you see, this all right here is Spain. Who's over here? Who's over here in 1700s? How much you want to bet some of the Bana Betu of Isayele had property over here? How much you want to bet many of the Bana Betu of Isayele had property over here? Man, you don't get it. Now, remember Yaya Kempavita, 1706? She said the Most High going to put it in the hands of Asia over here. Okay. There's no colonialism in Asia right now in 1754. Britain hasn't even gotten here yet. Remember I told you to start the teachings about Prince Philip, the way he got hooked in here. He got married into the Spain, got hooked in here. Okay? Y'all don't understand how played the whole world is. Okay? You didn't discover crap. Over here, they had cities. They had cities. They had excuse me. They had civilizations, and all they're gonna come tell you, or everything was just a bunch of monkeys running around, or people acting, and a bunch of people doing sorcery. Do you know how much sorcery was going on over here and over here in the 1700s, my son? Remember the Salem witch trials and all that? Adultery was considered something when you were doing witchcraft. These people were doing condemnation because they themselves, who were sitting there telling people you're guilty of adultery, were still praying to a pagan god. And they covered it up. They know. Even the Native Americans said, what are you talking about? We already know this. Because we had been scattered throughout the nations more than once. And anywhere that these imperial powers were, we were working as slaves. See, because Persia, when we went to Babylon right here, okay, you didn't think that there was still, even the Incas and the Aztecs, everybody was still worshiping Egyptian gods. So when everyone went into slavery, these Egyptian gods sent us wherever they needed to build something. This is how they found evidence of stuff over here. So when they came over in the 1600s, they sent people with stuff to blow everything up. The Spanish came down here. They destroyed the evidence. They destroyed the evidence. They destroyed the evidence of the traces of the Most High's language that all the nations knew how to speak. Because prior to the 1500s, everybody knew who the Bana Betu of Isayele was. Yes, they did. They all covering up the history. Psalm 83. The Muslims knew who we were. Yes, they did. Christianity knew who we were. The people of the way. Yes, they did. Okay? Now they're going to play like they got amnesia. Oh, no, we don't know about them people. Okay? Because they know that there's only two kingdoms running this world. It's either the Most High or it's Lucifer. Lucifer laid low the Gentiles. Let's go to Isaiah real quick. Isaiah 14, I'm going to read it for you, and you need to understand what we're talking about here. This is the hustle that people don't get. And I meant to get back into Zechariah. I'll read that after this when I'm done. For the Mfumu will have mercy upon Yakubi. He will choose Isayele and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yakubi. So we're going to see the remnant of nations, and that's what they want to stop. This is why they want to destroy the temple. And the people shall take them and bring them from to their place, and the house of Isayele will possess them in land of the Mfumu for servants. Why do you think now you have the Edomites wanting to hijack this scripture? To say, oh, you people are supposed to be under us because we are the house of Israel. And you're supposed to serve under us, and you're supposed to do what we say. But it's Revelation 3. I said, these are the Greeks. These are Greeks, okay? These are Phoenicians. These are Persians. These are Canaanites, the dogs and pigs, saying that you are supposed to work under us, okay? The Palestinians used to be black, and they were Bana Betu descendants, but they practice in Islam. That's why they're having problems. Islam cannot save anybody. It never could. Muhammad is the grandson of Esau, out of the Ishmaelites. You people don't even know. It shall come the day of past, the Mfumu will rest from their sorrow, from their fear, from the hard bondage, okay, that thou shalt be taken up a proverb, that thou shalt be taken up from this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Remember, he called something called a golden age. Yeah, you don't know that was the wickedness of the time. The golden age was when Antiochus was doing his stuff. Okay? Yeah, Epiphanes. When he smote the people in wrath with continuous stroke, he ruled the nations in anger and persecuted, and none hindereth. For the whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth in singing. Is that the case right now with the people who are now saying they went home? No. The whole earth is not at rest. Yes, the fir trees rejoice, and the cedars lament, since thou art laid down. Hell from beneath is moved from thee. Where is hell? Where is hell? You walking on it, corporal. You're standing on it, corporal. Okay, you walk, it's around you. And they come in and stir up the dead for thee. Even all the chief ones of the earth hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we are? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So that's what's going to be the outcome of the terrors. All of them. How thou art fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How thou art cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. How did he do that? Pretending to be the Most High. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of nYambe. Because why? The stars are angels. Stop listening to the scientists. Mercury, Hermes, the stupid Jameson and Jombers people, they made up this stuff back in the 1800s with the clones because they knew that you work for the devil. And everybody still does. That's worshiping a false god. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That's why there's a Yahweh Kongo, Yahweh nYambe, and a Yahweh Baal. So it's about the spirit. What spirit do you serve? You don't. If you serve in Sophia, you already in hell. Sophia is the witch playing both sides. Ngogo, abuela, mommy, mama, grandmama, old woman, okay? But you got the wrong old woman. Okay, Malia Makongo is an old woman, but she never dies. You serving the God that's dead, that they need all of this blood, all of this blood. They need so much blood, 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 blood everywhere. The whole earth needs to give them blood. Why? Because they don't exist. Because they're wicked. That's why they're going to come telling you, oh no, we mythology. We don't exist no more anymore. We don't exist. Why? Because the living God and the living people would kick their tail in ways you can't even imagine because they have seen it before. You don't understand. You have not seen the army of Intino Davidi, of King David, and you have not seen how the real angels have manifested. Now it's starting to happen. Toko gave you an example of it, and this has happened many times. But the whole world is deceived by the fallen angels. They think Lucifer doesn't ever do good things. He does good things all the time to lead you to the bad. Do you think the Buddhists don't do good things? You think the Hindus don't do good things? You think the Berbers and what's the other one? All these other religions. You think these people don't do good things? But what God are they doing it under? You don't get it. Christians say, "Oh no, our God is the God that does all the good things." Yeah, Zeus is pretending to be good all the time. That's why it's called a tree of good and evil. You don't get it. Lucifer is doing good and evil together. The tree of life is just doing good. No evil. We don't operate in the negative. Never so soon. The Most High said you're supposed to do good with no evil. That's the way many people have been played in ignorance. You are doing both the good and the evil together. And the evil stuff, you think it's good when it's not. And then they're telling you what's bad, and you're still doing evil whether you know it. You don't get it. Because you're always learning things that are, the Most High don't care if you were a general or a doctor, a judge, a teacher, whatever occupation you had, bus driver, whatever. If you were taking Jacob to apostasy, he doesn't know you. That's why you sit there and say, oh, well, Jacob is these guys, and we're going to help them get out of apostasy. And they're laughing at you because they're Edom. They're Edom. They said they already, but they're going to say this whole thing they talking about is because they know that they are the opposite of what they told you. All of their gods, all of them worship Lucifer, but then they know the Christians worship Lucifer too because they made it up. They know the Muslims worship Lucifer too because they made it up. The three frogs. They took away the fourth Abrahamic belief. All right, real quick. Let's go to Zechariah. For the 8th month in the 2nd year of Delias came the word of the informer to Zechariah, the son of Iddo, the prophet, saying, the informer's sword displeased with your fathers. Thou sayest unto thee, turn ye unto me, says the informer, and I will turn you, says the informer of hosts. This is why they want to make us think that we turn back to the Most High in these religions when we didn't. Now we're doing this for real, and this is why the world is changing. But ye, as not as your forefather unto them, former prophets of Christ, saying, thus says the informer of her, turn ye now from your evil ways, and from evil ways maybe not hear, nor hearken unto me. Why don't we hear him? Because Lucifer is running interference. Your fathers are they, and the prophets, how do they live forever? But my words and my statute I've commanded my servants, did they not take hold of your fathers? And they returned and said, like as the informal host to do according our ways, according our doings, to have dealt with us. Upon the 4th and 20th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Saba, that's not the real month, it's another month, came the word of the informal unto Zechariah, the son of Barachiah, the son of Iddo, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. He stood upon the multiple trees that were the bottom, and behind him were red horses, speckled and white. And I said, oh, informer, what are these? And it said, I will show you these And the man stood among the myrtle trees, answered, saying, These are whom the Lord sent to walk and go forward through the earth. And he said, the angel stood among the myrtle tree and said, he walked to and fro, and behold, the earth sitteth at rest. Then the Maliki, the whole angel, said, How long wilt thou have no mercy upon the bounds of Solomon, the city of Judah, against those who have indignation 70 years? And the Fumu answered, said with him, so the Maliki answered, said, Cry thou, saying, Thus to the Fumu, I am jealous for Sani with a great jealousy, and I'm very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For as I was put little displeased, they helped forward the affliction. So this is now where we are. The heathen have what? Helped forward the affliction. And it's over. Because time with the Gentiles or time with the heathen is fulfilled. All right. I'm play the song real quick. I'm going to put it into this here. All praises to nYambe. Like I tell people, man, y'all don't know what time it is because they're lying to you. Everybody thinks that they're not heathens when they are. Everybody thinks they're going to the kingdom when they're not. Everybody thinks that they're doing righteously when they aren't. Because the world has been deceived by this lie. So everything is now going to come into a mass incident where you're going to see, okay, again, I don't own the rights to this music. It's for their only edification, this channel, and not for any other reasons, but to be able to glorify the Father. I do not own the rights to it. But again, people, it's over. Because the end of Babylon means the end of everybody that has been lying about who works for Esau and who doesn't. And now you're going to see what we're talking about. Because this is now starting to manifest. Every one of these deceivers are now going to be exposed for what they really are. All of them. This is how we praise the Most High. This is the music. This is the way the kingdom celebrates. Kumama. Now, Yahweh Kongo, not Baal. The only way you worship Baal is if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Other than that, no. But blasphemy means worshiping false God. That's why they think they're going to get away with it, because they taught us to worship other gods. They think, oh, you blaspheme the Holy Spirit. You got to do that by choice. Now when they're sitting there poisoning people and doing all kind of craziness, they don't even know. We were singing this before Europeans even know what we're talking about. This song was already there. We didn't learn this from no European Christian nothing. We were singing this already. Kumbia, kumbia yava, kumbia tata, kumbia. We already knew that song. They stole it and they changed it to come by here. No, that's not what it means. It means rise us up. And the word kumbia is not a dance that they put with the carnival spirit. It was meaning to rise us up. Kumbia tata nYambe, kumbia tata. Rise us up. They perverted everything we're doing, even many of the dances you see, and combining it with that juju spirit in the music and everything. Even in the church house, you under some juju you don't even know. Satan can't cast out Satan if you're talking to Simon the Sorcerer, or if you're worshiping Simon the Sorcerer, or if you're being played by Simon the Sorcerer. You don't understand. Every religion is praying to the wizard, the warlock. Because Simon Magus is the one planting the tares. Through who? Secret societies. Now they've been going to show you. Like I said, the indulgences. Rome was calling himself the treasurer. Okay? The Masons cannot be the treasurer because they are the thief of the Most High's kingdom. They lying to you. They worshiping, they make an oath to Azazel, the goat god. How are they going to run the Most High's treasure? It's a lie. The Eastern Stars, all of them. That's why they have to keep their mouth shut with the oath and then can't talk about it, because they know that they're the ones that are causing us to not get what we need. They're always going to stab you in the back. And they invented Christianity because it was always called people of the way. Nicolaitans, they took Christianos and took people of the way, and boom. Now the sorcerer was running the treasury. That's why you're paying tax. Because the Simon the Sorcerer making you pay tax. Calling about he the Messiah, when the Messiah already paid the tax. Because Rome is saying we are the caretakers of the Most High Kingdom. Indulgences, now they tithe and offering. How you don't even know. That's where they twist the scripture, render unto Caesar what is Caesar. But Caesar is saying that he's the Most High in spirit. So, and the Most High don't charge tax. He don't need the tax. They know that they did this on purpose because you are still talking to Jupiter. And no, he wasn't white. Hallelujah. When I say Jupiter, I'm talking about Enlil. Enlil was not white. Now he turned white. Leper. He turned leprous. The cross, this right here, this symbol, Osiris, he stole it from King Kongo Tatanzambi. So when you're in Kongo de Totala, that's why the red X was our cross. That is how Nimrod, that's how Lucifer said, I shall be like the Most High. The symbols got stolen, many of them. But you can only be under the one star. You cannot be under the other star. You cannot serve two kingdoms. You either want to serve one star or the other, and not the one who's pretending to be the star. This is how we're getting played. You think these people aren't working for the other kingdom when they've been swapped out? Yes, they have. They seen Simon Toko and his Lucifer. They seen Kimbangu and his Lucifer. They seen Jesus and his Lucifer. They seen the Archangel Michael and his Lucifer, and he playing games. If you're not getting power and you're not powering up, you're talking to Lucifer. You're getting drained, you need to block it. That's where you got to close the blockage. That's why you got to be careful who you're talking to, man. I'll praise this. If you're casting out devils, or you're actually bringing people to true repentance, you're not going to be needing them to buy the kingdom ever. Indulgences are a way, oh, pay us so your sins are less. You cannot pay a hypocrite money if he's the sorcerer. No way. And the sorcerer can be anybody. Your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, whoever. Anybody that's teaching you that you got to buy the kingdom is a fraud. The Most High don't sell the kingdom to the chosen people. No, he does not. They already own it from the foundation of the earth. Let me say it again. You already owned it from the foundation of the earth. Simon the Sorcerer's trick is to get you to buy something you already own because he was denied. And he was the twin brother. He was a Bantu, just like the other one. And he started working for Esau. And you don't think that this is happening again, you fool yourself. All praises. Zola Quingi Sam Malolo, in the Wizard Yabe Kongo Kutwala, Ingita.